Film fans of YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, your Movie Apprentice, and today I continue my LFF film reviews, continuing with my first of a Korean trilogy. I saw 4 Korean films at the festival, and of course I've got to start off with the most hyped one, and that one is Decision to Leave, directed by Park Chan-Wook, and starring Park Hae-Il and Tang. This follows a detective who grows very close to the prime suspect in a suspected suicide or potential murder case. Now, to start off with, this is a film that's obviously been getting a lot of hype thanks to its constant trailers. I swear to God, every 15-rated film I've been seeing recently at the cinema has had this movie advertised. Now, it is now out, and it feels like it's a prudent time to get my thoughts on this because, like I've said, I saw 4 Korean films at the London Film Festival, and this was the third best. And that is not to say this is a bad movie. That's just showing that the quality of Korean cinema, at least for me this year, has been really strong. Obviously, Park Chan-wook is known for directing Oldboy, so it seems like since Oldboy, every time he releases a film, there's always going to be a hype around this. And for me, this film worked in some elements, but didn't work in others. For one thing, the main love story between our main two characters is something that I didn't entirely buy. It felt very, very out of nowhere, if that makes sense. They are having a discussion in an interrogation room like you would normally expect, and sparks seem to fly immediately, I think, is the impression we're supposed to be getting. The first half of the movie just feels very generic in its sense of telling the story of a detective falling for the main suspect in the whole case. Luckily, the second half of the movie, there's a certain point where you could definitively split the film into two halves. The second half is a lot stronger, where we get more into the suspect side of things and their perspective on the whole relationship. I did like how this slowly built across the entire runtime of the movie itself, and I did enjoy the scenes that these two shared together. Because I will say this, Tang Wei is by far a standout in this. She is fantastic in this movie. Where the script for me lacks, she manages to convey more out of it from her performance, and anyone coming out of it would say that yes, they would throw their lives away for this woman. That is the core crux of this. Obviously, it's advertised as a mystery movie with the climber falling off the cliff, but did he really fall? That's hardly a mystery. There is no secret into what actually happened with it, so the investigation very much feels like a back seat. Don't go into this expecting a detective movie solving clues and trying to find the big reveal of the villain. We already know what's happened in the back of our minds. I'm just waiting for the film to reveal it. But the relationship is, like I say, something I didn't entirely buy for the first half, but I bought it way more in the second half as sparks truly did begin to fly. The cinematography and the symbolism in this, however, are really well done. There are some gorgeous shots. There's something about Korean cinema and how they just let camera angles hold on very out of the box angles. A particular favorite of mine has to be a bird's eye shot that you don't really get to see that much of. It just shows this beautiful little aesthetical landscape, and it's cleverly used as well because it takes you out of the scene, whereas the character in focus is very much out of his depth and out of reach, and his knowledge of what the situation is far beyond what it actually is. And I feel like that particular shot does convey that. The scenic elements of this are beautiful. There's also this fun little subplot where our detective is looking for a serial killer, and while that whole sequence could have been a whole movie unto itself, it very much takes a back seat. But when we get to the confrontations between these two characters, it does come out with a satisfying climax, which is more than I could say for the actual climax of the main plot thread of this movie. The sense of time was a bit jarring for me. There is a point where it feels like a character got somewhere shortly after someone else, but in actual fact, they got there way after someone else. And that is perfectly hammered home with obviously what happens next. And for me, they could have handled the passage of time a little bit better. The relationships in this just aren't that strong for me, but the performances do elevate it beyond what it seems at a script value. There is something the movie is lacking. I can't 100% tell what that is, but it feels like there was definitely a big puzzle piece missing that stops me from being pushed into the great territory along with Oldboy. So this is a movie that everyone that is a fan of the director will go watch it, but don't expect The Handmaiden or Old Boy because you would be disappointed on that regard. But in terms of a well crafted, well paced story with various plot threads that does keep you engaged and has some interesting side characters, very much helps the movie where the main relationship fails for me on a deep level. And the cinematography is just gorgeous to look at. And I will say, even though I was disappointed with the ending, it does stick with you, and that I can always give a film praise for because it's very hard to really stick the landing and make an ending stick with their audience. So overall, for me, the decision to leave had a lot of hype going into it, and for me, did not personally live up to the hype, but it was a very enjoyable, decent movie that was very well paced despite its lengthy runtime. The relationship in the main part could have been a bit more fleshed out, and the dynamic between the two could have been explored a little bit more. But I seem to be in the minority of that, as a lot of people really did love this movie. But for me personally, the decision to leave is a tea that needs more sugar. So, decision to leave. Have you seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Remember, drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more video content like this coming all the time. I should have reviews for the other two Korean films that I thought were better than this coming up hopefully today or tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, my name is Josh. I have been your Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.